This movie is called The House Where Evil Dwells, but the real title should be These Ghosts Are Jerks. The House Where Evil Dwells is a 1982 horror film from director Kevin Connor. The movie opens in 1840 Kyoto. A passing swordsman stops to visit his best gal. Oh, the passion just leaps off the screen. She takes his shoes and turns them around. Oh, you know what that means? No, really, do you know what that means? I have no idea. I'm assuming it's something sexual. The woman cooks this guy a delicious meal and shows him the demon humping trinket. These Japanese tea infusers are weird. After several hours of this, the guy can't take it anymore, and it's time for sex. And disrobing back then was really complicated. Finally!
I have seen the top of the mountain, and it is good.
Although you know who would have a problem with this? The woman's husband! Uh-oh. He sees the shoes and knows the missus is up to no good. The husband is not happy with this and interrupts the love fest. They would have went right to sex instead of dinner and a show. They might not have been caught. The man proceeds to wildly slice in slow motion. He gets a few good shots in and finishes by stabbing the guy in the dick. And he decapitates him. He then kills his wife, trashes the place, and kills himself. This movie certainly doesn't mess around. I wonder what the police would say when they see this place.
Looks like someone had a do-it-yourself lunch meat party.
Over a century later, business guy Alex is meeting up with the Fletcher family. They're moving to Japan so the husband can write a book or something. Alex tells Ted and Laura he found them a house where they can stay that's relatively cheap. There's only one problem.
Well, the reason I got the house so cheap is the house is supposed to be haunted.
Ted doesn't care. He's happy it's just a cheap place. They make their way to the house, which looks just like it did 100 years ago. Minus the blood and bodies. They investigate the house, and it's just perfect. Alex goes to leave, and one of the ghosts throws sake at him. That night, the ghosts mess with the lights. That's it. It's time to call...
Ted?
Oh, Ted!
Yes! There are plenty of ghost fighting products, and you can get them at Ted's Ghost Fighting Products Emporium.
Ted tries to sleep, but is awakened by ghosts. Hey, honey, I just saw some ghosts in the house. Let's fool around. I can't imagine how quiet you'd have to be with paper walls. The next day, Ted is visited by the local monk. He tells him the house is not safe and they should come to the temple if they need help. Laura finds the weird fetish demon trinket. This then unleashes their ghostly powers. Ted's talking to Laura when she's suddenly possessed.
Doesn't it seem strange to you that Alex never married?
Nah. Just hard to please.
I don't think I'd find him hard to please.
Okay, how does a 100-year-old Japanese ghost know how to speak English? At night, they go to a dance party. Laura gets a call from Alex, and the ghost uses her to make some advances.
Don't want to go.
That's just rude.
One knocked my macaroni on the floor.
At night, they go to another party. Ted talks to this guy with an incredible comb-over. Laura's still under the control of the ghost, so she takes Alex outside and gives him the business. Laura's trying to wash the dishes, and the ghosts mess with the sink. I don't remember ordering the ghost alarm clock. Laura and Amy go shopping and get some no masks.
You like there's no masks? Very fine.
Ted's trying to write, and wait, why is the husband ghost working with the two other ghosts? Shouldn't they still be fighting? Whatever, he tries to stab him. Ted decides it's time to call in the monks. He tells them how Otami went to a witch so she could get an item to seduce Masanori. Only she doesn't just take it, she steals it and stabs the witch in the eye. Surely this is a terrible idea, lady. So, of course, the witch cursed the trinket, which is what caused the events that unfolded at the beginning of the movie. The girls return home.
What's in the box?
If it's a good movie, it'll be Gwyneth Paltrow's head. Ted checks out the no masks. He's not happy she spent all her money on masks, and she blows a gasket.
50,000 yen we can't afford for anything.
We
you
can't
spent on
afford-
something to hang
we
up in the
can't
living room?
afford- Wait a minute. But you can afford to pick out the check every time you take out a bunch of Japanese businessmen who will have more money than we've ever seen.
That's business!
That night, one of the ghosts possesses Amy's soup. Ted then gets possessed, and this is a very unorthodox way of trying to get your kid to eat dinner. The next day, Ted apologizes for the whole soup thing. Then he has to go on a business trip. Laura gets rid of Amy for the day so she can have a sexathon. Ted goes out on a fishing boat to take some pictures. He falls in and the ghosts hold him under. That night, Laura goes to see him in the hospital and leaves Amy with a babysitter. Amy and the babysitter are sleeping when, she's got crabs.
Well, look, they're harmless, all right? If they get near you, hit them with the shampoo.
She goes outside and the crabs can climb trees? The parents arrive home to find the police at the house. They go to see Amy has multiple fractures and crab-related injuries. They then go home and the demon mask flies off at Laura.
I hate the things in it, and I hate this goddamn mask!
Hate it? You bought it! Ted flips out and hacks up the mask, which hurts Laura. He decides it's time to see those monks again. Laura's at home alone and all the ghosts yell at her. The monk comes to the house and sets up some protection wards, which chases the ghosts outside. This will keep them safe for tonight so they can get Amy tomorrow and go back to the US. So whatever you do, don't open the doors. Laura then decides now is the perfect time to tell Ted that she's been cheating on him with Alex, but has no idea why. No, honey, I swear, I wasn't cheating on you. I was possessed by a vengeful Japanese ghost. Just then Alex arrives and Ted lets the ghosts in. The ghosts all possess the living and have a good old-fashioned sword fight. History then repeats itself. Ted decapitates Alex, kills Laura, and then himself. They are happy with the mess they've made. See what I mean? Jerks! The House Where Evil Dwells was largely shot on location in Japan. The movie was based on the novel by James Hardiman. It was directed by Kevin Connor, who made this right after directing the horror classic Motel Hell. The director continued working, although he mostly directed TV shows like Moonlighting and Remington Steele, as well as made-for-TV movies like The Return of Sherlock Holmes and Santa Jr. He said The House Where Evil Dwells is one of his least favorite movies because the film's producers, in conjunction with the Japanese studio Toei, recut the film without his involvement and removed much of the character development with the main cast. This removed much of the depth of the film and made the audience less sympathetic towards their characters. For the scenes with the ghosts, they shot them with a technique called Schaffhausen. They filmed the actors in their ghost makeup in front of a black velvet background that they could fade in and out as needed. Apparently, the ending of the film was supposed to show that the ghosts killing Laura, Ted, and Alex was to free their spirits. So now their ghosts would haunt the house, and the Japanese ghosts escape. It kind of makes sense, and also explains why the ghosts are doing what they're doing, although they genuinely seem to be enjoying tormenting their victims. The House Where Evil Dwells is a weird movie. You feel bad for everyone involved except the ghosts. Laura, Ted, and Amy did nothing wrong. Alex is the only American who isn't innocent, but I don't think he deserved to be decapitated. Multiple lives ruined because over 100 years ago, a Japanese woman got horny and refused to pay a witch for her services. It's an interesting movie, and apparently the producers requested more naked Susan George, which there is quite a bit of. Speaking of Susan George, 5 years before this, she starred in the fascinating Rene Cardona Jr. shark love triangle movie, Tintorera. I've been able to dig up a little bit about the movie, but would love to do a full exploring of it. If anybody out there has any leads on it, let me know. I've had nothing but dead ends. Anyway, The House Where Evil Dwells. Obnoxious ghosts, dumb Americans, and smoky dance clubs. I've seen many of the director's other films, and I tend to think that his cut most likely would have been better. I've also spoken to some filmmakers who've had their films butchered under a similar Japanese label, and the cut footage has long since been destroyed. So most likely the theatrical cut is the only cut that will ever exist. Whose fault is it? The ghosts.